This is the Reuben Podcast.
It's episode 1210, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and it is storming outside. Joining me from Nashville, it's artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What's happening?
And just down the street there, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
It's the three of us today. Marty is in LA shooting music videos for Flop Air Volume 2. Go stream it now if you haven't. Jesse,
is that a secret that he's shooting videos? Are we just allowed to put his business out there like that?
Rappers are always shooting videos.
So that's true, but he actually is. He flew in as video guy. He arrived yesterday because I was on the phone with Marty, and he was like on the way to the airport to pick up the film crew. So he's shooting videos all week. So lots of Marty content's on its way.
Yeah, man.
It's been a busy week. It's Friday. Had a late night. America had a late night on Tuesday, and there's a lot of happy and unhappy people. But now we're a few days past it. The dust has settled, and we're all doing good. We're all doing good except for Emily, who is very, very sick. So
I'm trying. I literally said, I was like, maybe I can fake it to where I don't sound sick. And Cameron was like, no, your nose is gonna give you away. Like
it sounds like you. It sounds like you have. It sounds like you have a brick in your nose. I'm sorry.
But yesterday she sounded like a frog in her throat and just phlegm flying out of her mouth every 30 seconds.
You sound like Lou Rawls right now. What a wonderful world.
Wow, I've never felt so good about myself.
Because we love you.
Yeah,
if I don't pick on you, I don't love you. Like I pick on the people I love.
Okay, let me wipe away this tear then, because it's out of love.
Y'all want to know what I'm the most excited about? I'm going to tell y'all right now is that I won't be seeing political ads for the next 4 years, and I'm so happy because I cannot get on YouTube. Yeah, dang it, I can't get on YouTube or anything without seeing a political ad. I'm so happy, and another thing I want to do is I want to hire both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris's text team because they definitely got my attention. I mean, I got a text every hour on the hour.
I will tell you what.
Real estate people are, bro. Look. Can we buy your house, people? I want to hire them. Can I hire y'all to sell Derek Miner products, please?
I will say that. I mean, that is true. I was getting a lot of email addresses come to me, I guess, over the years. I've kind of accumulated email addresses. Yeah. My inbox was desperate fundraising up until 4 p.m. on election day. It's like, where are you spending money on election afternoon? Why are you asking me for money right now?
It's too late.
It's too late. Like, what are you doing? But man, they were so desperate.
Yeah. Read the room.
I saw somebody tweet, I can't wait to, on Wednesday, text back Kamala Harris. Hey, just saw these. Do you still need that $30? It's like on Wednesday. But anyway. All right. Yeah, it's behind us. Thank God we can get back to normal. I'm excited just from what Relevant covers because the news cycle has been so overtaken over the last 6 months. It's like we cover faith, culture, entertainment stuff's coming out, like social issues, trends, study. None of that stuff was getting published. Like it was so hard for us to like just keep our finger on the pulse over the last 6 months.
That's why I talked about the Timothy Chalamet lookalike competition last episode because that was it. Yeah. That was it. And I was thrilled to talk about it, but yeah, for real. I'm excited I don't know. Let's get back to some silly news. I feel like we need that.
Did you see that the Timothy Chalamet lookalike competition got referenced on the SNL on the John Mulaney musical number? That was great.
It was great. All the Timmys.
All the Timmys coming in for the Timothy Chalamet lookalike contest. We have a great show coming up for you today. Ben Fielding and Reuben Morgan are joining us. You may know them. They used to be part of Hillsong. They are starting a new worship collective that we talked to them about. All the Hillsong people are now, enough time has passed, are all reemerging, doing their own things now.
I'm like, ain't this 2 shows in a row?
Man, we've had several. I mean, back to Aiden King, and like, they're all reemerging. Joel Houston's launching his own project right now, AMXM Radio. Like, he'll be coming up. We're talking to him. He's a longtime friend. So, yeah, all the new era of Hillsong diversified. Not Hillsong United, Hillsong Dispersed. Hillsong Dispersed is
Diaspora, the Hillsong Diaspora.
Yeah, it used to be Hillsong United. Now it's Hillsong Diaspora.
I'm glad that they're like still doing worship music though, because like I love Hillsong United. Like I mean, there was a reason they were at the top of the Christian charts for so long. Like they are good. So I'm excited to see what they do individually, because I'm curious to see like who emerges as I don't know. I'm just interested to see how their solo careers go. So
you're trying to find out who's going to be the new boy band, who's going to be the guy that comes out of
I want to see who's going to be the Harry Styles,
right? Who's going to be the Harry Styles, right?
I'm interested.
That's really
John
funny.
What's his name? John Cool?
Justin Timberlake?
No. The guy from the big Korean pop band.
Oh, yeah, Jungkook from
Jungkook,
BTS, yeah.
BTS, yeah.
I've never listened to BTS. I think I heard on Apple Music once, like Apple Music One, they interviewed them, an album was dropping or something, and they played a clip and it was all in Korean. And I was like, is this what their music is? Like, so why are they popular in the U.S.? We don't know what they're saying.
Because they actually take time to make records. Like, the thing is, like, their stuff is heavily produced. Everything is intentional, from their look to their performances. Like, it doesn't even matter what language it's in. And then I think the world is also getting so much smaller where, like, I listen to a French artist, dude named Yame. I have no clue what he's saying, but the music is so well produced and so creative, and his visuals are so creative. I enjoy it, man. I think my kids love BTS. Like,
really?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's well produced. I think they have like K-pop as an industry has like phenomenal management, like every band does. The way that they interact with fans is really unique and interesting. I watched the Blackpink documentary a few years ago, which is the K-pop girl group. And just like kind of seeing the way, like from the time they're in like middle school, they enter these like K-pop camps where they are literally like trained, put together into what's going to be the most marketable group. And then like they're just, it's like, it is a massive industry. It's very interesting.
It's like the 2000 Diddy's show, Making the Band.
For real though.
But they've been doing it for like a long, they've been doing it for a lot longer. Like they've been doing it. Cause like I had a friend growing up who is from Korea. She was my next door neighbor. She had a cousin I think it was a cousin who was in like a K-pop band. Like they weren't huge, but they were big. But that was like 2004. So like
by the time, it seems like by the time they're popular, they're already veterans. It's different as over here, like an artist goes viral and then they're becoming a star based off their virality. For these guys, they're like, they've been doing it for a decade before you even knew who they were.
Right.
By the time they post on TikTok, they already understand the trends. They understand all this different stuff. And they're already doing tours. They already know how to perform. They're coming out the gate. It's artist development. That's really what it is. They're developed before they hit the scene. They took it back to the 90s and early 2000s.
It's like I saw an interview with Sabrina Carpenter, who I'm not a pop fan, but that is one of the most perfect pop albums that has been made. I mean, it's like such a good, and she's such a good performer, and like she personifies the music and all this stuff. And I saw an interview with her, and she's like, this is my 6th album. Because everybody's like, where'd you come from? She's amazing out of nowhere. Not Emily, she knows, but I'm just saying, like, casual music fans. It's like all of a sudden Sabrina Carpenter is like a new artist, like Olivia Rodrigo was, or something like that, And it's like, no, she's like, I put out 6 albums. Like, I'm not necessarily proud of the music I made, but I learned kind of like my lane through that process, and I learned who I don't want to be as an artist. And, and like she was developed for a decade before she hit it big.
And forgive my ignorance, but she's from the Disney line as well, right?
Yeah.
So this is her first, this is her first album, not on the Disney label. That's the big key difference is.
Think about that.
Yeah. She's on a different management label, everything. Yeah.
Man, you've been groomed. In a good way. It's
that's a tricky word right now.
It's bad, right?
You've
been developed from a child. Like, that's why the Disney stars, when they hit, they hit. That's why Olivia Rodrigo's hit. That's why Sabrina, she hit, because she knows she's not in an interview trying to figure out what should I do here. She has a plan. She has a mission. I know I'm connecting with people. I need to bring them into my fold.
They understand branding very well. That's the big thing. Yeah.
Very well.
What's interesting is they also, the Disney machine has the television revenue, and the music is an outgrowth of it. And so they're developing them from multiple places: performance, acting, interviews, media, the whole thing. But like the music industry, or just the music part of it, probably couldn't support all that. So it's like, it's interesting seeing, we're talking about artists like K-pop and what that have been developed and invested in over years before they're successful. And the music industry now is completely eliminating all of that, like laying off all the development positions, A&R, everything. So it's like, what does the music industry think is going to be successful next? They're not developing the next wave of artists.
I don't know if you know, it's not even just the creatives. Tidal just cut most of their creative marketing department.
Wow.
Like it's the whole industry as a whole is seeing a level of shrinkage we've never seen before. But what's encouraging is I saw Kevin Lyles, who we know, he was I think he was at 300. He's broken tons of artists even before he was at 300, but he's responsible for people like Young Thug and some of these big hip hop artists. But he's like, the artists I'm looking for right now, I'm going to develop them over the next couple of years. I'm not looking for the flash in the pan people. I'm looking for artists, because even the executives are starting to see, like, putting out these half-baked performers because they've went viral is not a sustainable business. It may be great for a moment, but it's not a sustainable business. So I think all of this shrinkage is actually going to allow for new investment to come in and to actually invest in actual creatives and art. So that's what
I do think having an entire industry get turned upside down because of an algorithm and people consuming new artists in 15-second clips. I think they're seeing now finally on the other side of that, oh, this isn't sustainable. This isn't building careers. There's no long-term revenue stream for us with this. This is a flash in the pan. Because think about it, the last 4 years, I mean, it really started with COVID. TikTok went nuts during COVID, right? You know, everybody doing little dances viral. I feel like, you know, now 4 years later, we're on the other side seeing, oh, that isn't actually sustainable, you know, to build careers in artists. So hopefully now the industry is going to wake up and change things. K-pop, everybody.
And to bring this full circle, part of what I talked with Ben and Reuben about is they want to develop the next generation of worship leaders, and they want to like pour into them and, you know, teach them rhythms of rest and help them, not even just like help them with songwriting, but just kind of walk alongside them. And I think I thought
you were going to say they want to teach them rhythm. I was like, well, they should probably already know rhythm.
Hopefully they already know that. Yeah. I mean, maybe some of them need a little help though. I've seen some worship
clap
leaders.
On 2 and 4, not 1 and 3, everybody.
But yeah, so it seems like people are aware, like, okay, we do still need to develop artists, like not even just artistically, but also just as humans, and like care for them and help them navigate this crazy industry.
That's encouraging, especially considering a lot of the challenges that Hillsong has had to navigate just as a brand, not the music, but just the group itself.
Culture,
to be able to say like, man, you know what? We want to take what we've learned about burnout and all those different things and invest in the next generation. I think that's gospel living right there. Like that's gospel living, you know?
Absolutely. All right. So they're coming up. At the end of the show, we have your feedback. You wrote in and told us the weirdest things you bought on the TikTok shop or Impulse Buys. So you don't want to miss that. But stay tuned after the break. It's Relevant Buzz. Discover Jesus throughout Scripture with the Jesus Bible. From Zondervan and Passion Publishing, the Jesus Bible lifts Jesus up as the lead story of the Bible and encourages you to faithfully follow him as you participate in this story. With over 1,000 articles and essays, this study Bible allows you to know Jesus more intimately, love him more passionately, and walk with him more faithfully. Find out more at thejesusbible.com. Today's show is also brought to you in part by Upside Down Kingdom Bible. Think deeply and love widely with the new NIV Upside Down Kingdom Bible. This study Bible provides readers with thoughtful, scripture-based notes from a diverse set of trusted Christian voices and explores difficult issues facing Christians today. With features that are honest, nuanced, and filled with grace, topics such as race and ethnicity, creation care, science, abortion, gender and sexuality, politics, and others. Learn more at UpsideDownKingdomBible.com or find it wherever books are sold. Okay, it's time for Relevant Buzz. Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
Okay, well, let me ask you guys this. Did either of y'all watch that Netflix reality show, Rhythm and Flow, the rap competition show that came out in 2019?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I had some homies that's on it.
Oh, for real? Who?
Lil Bree.
Oh, I remember.
My partner Lil Bree was on it. He didn't do good in the freestyle part, but
I remember.
So yeah.
It was a great show. It was so good.
D Smoke won that one, right? Wasn't that the one that D Smoke won? Yeah.
Super impressive artist. Haven't really heard from him since then, but he was great. But
he's done some pretty cool stuff. He's just been very underground with it.
I've looked him up because whatever happened to D Smoke? And he's still doing some things, but he hasn't broken out to the mainstream. But man, that was a great show. I watched it right when COVID was hitting. It came out right before COVID. I remember loving it. Now I couldn't wait for season 2. And it's been 5 years and it hasn't come back.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's coming back?
It is finally coming back for season 2 after 5 years, which is really exciting. So last time the guest judges were Cardi B, Chance the Rapper, and T.I. This time around, it's going to be DJ Khaled, Ludacris, and Lotto for the judges. But what's really exciting is that this season, a Christian rapper is going to be competing. Her name is Mizzy Mitchell. She's from Houston. What's really cool is actually she started out as a non-Christian rapper, but she recently gave her life to Christ within the last year and has pivoted her career. And she is now, trying to make it as a Christian rapper. And we've actually got one of her songs here called Thank You, Jesus, for Choosing Me. I knew myself, my identity, but how the world was telling me it's showing how to be. But now I am a son of God, that's how we all should see. But we've been caught up in these lies and these philosophies. I said I knew of God, but I was walking from my prophecy. I even went to churches thinking that I knew him properly. Was still living in sin and claiming Jesus, that's a mockery. I'm cut from different cloths, you couldn't fabricate my walk. From the trauma and abuse, I'm a walking living proof. You can see it by my fruits, telling stories by my roots. You can tell I'm not the same on how I breathe or how I move. You know I had to make a change, cause in those times I could have died, but Jesus had me by his side, and now I'm living in his will. Oh yes, I'm living in his side, and yes, I'm back again. Yeah, I'm here to win. Jesus cleared my sin, now my life begins. Yeah, the Holy Spirit, my comforter. No need for a little meat coat. I pray for my enemies. I don't gotta bring that heat stroke. Can't put your trust in human flesh.
All right, looking forward to seeing her.
I love it.
Representing Jesus.
Yeah, hopefully she does well.
Hopefully it goes well for her.
This has the potential to do some amazing things or some very damaging stuff could come out of this.
I know.
I just pray to God. I'm like, look, I'm rooting for all the Christians. I love her. Do your thing, girl. I ain't heard your music, but I believe in you. Go represent us well.
She got on there for a reason. And it's hopefully not to paint a contrast that there's good and bad. You know what I mean? Hopefully she's among the good.
Can y'all remind me too, because it's I know there's different challenges. There's the freestyle challenges. There's some rap ciphers. Yeah, so hopefully.
There's styling, performance. There's a bunch of different aspects of being a, professional hip hop artist that they develop, honestly, and rate you and stuff. So branding, the whole thing. That's cool. It's really well produced. It's going to be a different judging cast than it was 5 years ago.
I think I saw DJ Khaled on there.
Yeah, it's DJ Khaled, Ludacris, and Lotto. And then they did in the teaser.
Before it was Cardi B and T.I., who I am not a fan of either of those artists. So I'm glad to see some fresh faces.
You're not a fan. You weren't a fan of T.I.?
You and I disagree on that era of Southern rap, and it's just it's just not the sound that I love. Him. I loved Atlanta rap in that era, but I just wasn't a T.I. guy, man. I was more of an Outkast guy. I don't know. It's fine. I get it. I get why he's the king of Atlanta. I get it. But
Future the king of Atlanta. He was the king of Atlanta. Future is the king of Atlanta.
So they did in the teaser trailer for the second season, they teased that there's going to be a special guest that I guess will be there for, I don't know, one competition or something. A lot of people are speculating on who it is. The biggest guess is people think it's going to be Eminem.
That would be crazy.
But they did that on season 1. Like they would have certain competitions. They'd have a guest judge pop in Eminem, for that episode.
I'm all for Grandpa Eminem. Like I can't wait. Yeah.
He's got a grandkid.
I don't think I knew that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Or I think she has. Yeah, I think he has.
No,
a grandkid.
I do think you're right.
Married.
I do think you're right. That's just crazy to think of. Like when I think about Eminem, I don't think about him as a grandpa.
I'm for a Grandpa Eminem that no longer has to troll the world and just gets to be like Eminem. Like I want to see who Marshall Mathers at 50 something is. You know?
The thing I can't get over about this era of Eminem is he dyes his beard black like Hulk Hogan did when Hulk Hogan was the bad guy on NWO. And so I'm just like, A, it looks unnatural, but B, why are you looking like the bad Hulk Hogan, man? He looks like his evil twin or something.
Yeah.
So, shave it.
Shave it, bro.
He would look 35 years old if he didn't have that dyed beard on.
I don't get it. I don't get that either.
I don't think anyone looks good with a dyed beard. I can't think of a single person who's ever looked good.
LeBron, there's a lot of guys who go gray in their beard in their 30s and they can't deal with it, so they dye it.
I wish I had a beard to dye.
LeBron's funny because he'll go a few days forgetting to touch it up, and you'll see everything at the root is gray, and then it's all pitch black after that. And I was like, dude, come on, you're not fooling nobody.
That's funny.
LeBron's hair choices in general, guys. Like, I mean, it's been
side by side photos.
It's been an issue.
The man has found the fountain of youth. He has regrown a hairline.
He went to Turkey.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yes, he did.
That is what money will buy you, is a hairline.
100%. All right, what else you got?
Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is a really interesting study about how Gen Z are actually pretty big homebodies. So this is coming from a new study from Princeton that found Americans are spending more time at home compared to 2003. And a lot of that shift is coming from younger adults. It's not totally surprising considering Gen Z kind of, came of age during pandemic. But what's interesting to me is that post-pandemic, this is like stuck around because I thought we were all ready to get out of the pandemic and start living our lives again.
But I don't think so.
So you're thinking it like almost rewired their brains to say like this is the norm. And then maybe like post-COVID, they tried to enlarge their social engagement, but then they're almost reverting back to what was familiar and safe for a few years.
Well, so the study found really 2 reasons why this is growing. And one of them is just lingering social anxiety from the pandemic. They kind of forgot how to engage with new people. And so going out to, a bar and meeting new people is really anxiety inducing for them. So they'd rather just stay at home and hang out with their friends.
Or alone.
And not do anything. Yeah, who are alone. And then the other reason is just the rising cost of everything. They don't want to spend money because it's like every time they leave their house, you're spending at least $20, if not more.
I mean, I think honestly along those lines, and if I'm in the mood to see a movie on a Saturday night, I literally have an option of spending $50 and going to the theater or streaming it on my 4K television at home with no hassle, no cost. Why wouldn't I just do that?
With great food.
Right. And you're relaxed. Like, why wouldn't I do that?
And I'm going to bring up the counterpoint, which is that I am an AMC Stubs member, and I think everyone should be one. It is $20 a month. You get 3 movies a week for free. Please get an AMC Stubs membership. It's so much fun.
This is what I wonder, though. I also wonder if like video games and things like along with streaming, because my kid, like I remember when we were kids back in my day, Uncle Derek, I remember when we were kids, you would have to like make us not go outside because there was nothing inside to do. But now there's everything inside to do. Now imagine if that's been your reality your whole life. By the time you become an adult, I play, like I said, I've been playing NBA 2K, and it's not just like 16-year-olds.
No,
it's
of course
like
not.
Grown men. It's such a, and I'm talking about playing for hours. Like, bro, some of these people be grinding these games out, and I'm like, bro, you don't have a life.
The average video game player is a 32-year-old male, not a teenager.
That's crazy. Yeah. 32-year-old male.
Think about this. If the average is 32, there's just as many 16-year-olds as there is guys in their 50s.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah. Makes sense.
But yeah, so it's just interesting that.
So you're making me feel better about my lack of a social life. Thank you very much, Gen Z. I was just a trendsetter. I was a trendsetter for y'all.
You're a trendsetter. And I will, you know what? I am going to give Gen Z this because there's another study that came out that kind of connects with this. There are actually some health benefits to having like a smaller group of friends. Because I do want to clarify, Gen Z this is not necessarily them saying they're lonely. It's just they hang out at their house with maybe 2 to 3 friends. But there are some health benefits, which is essentially that you're limiting your risk for exposure to diseases. So people who have small group of friends do tend to live longer. So
wait, you're saying you're not just saying that like extemporaneously. There's a study that came out.
No, yeah, there's a report from the University of Edinburgh that found the smaller circle of friends keeps you healthier
longer. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So in staff meetings over the last couple of years, like everybody gets sick, right? Emily's sick right now.
Me, literally sick right now.
But like all of our team would get sick and I would just be like, yeah, I'm never sick. And like they have all had COVID multiple times. I've never had COVID. And I'd like tease them about it. And Emily one day just goes, it's because you don't leave your house. And I'm like, oh. I was like, I thought I just had good immune system. She's like,
go get sick, everybody.
You have no social life. That is not a brag, Cameron. I'm like, oh,
I will say, like, I'm sick. Last weekend, I had 8 of my friends in town, so it's not completely surprising. That I'm sick after that.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Your little nasty friends.
Yeah, that's true. No, 5 of them are teachers. They're getting it from their snotty little kids.
Bro.
Yeah. So
that'll do it.
Tell Derek what you did with your friends when they visited last weekend in Nashville.
You know, we went out and did the normal Nashville things.
You did not hit no pedal tavern.
No, we did not hit the pedal tavern. No.
You hit Broadway.
We went to Broadway.
Oh, you went into the madhouse. You did the madness.
She was the cliche girl group in Broadway.
Did y'all have on was it a wedding or something? Was it a bridesmaid things? Did y'all have
it was my friend's 30th birthday, so we did kind of celebrate that. But we didn't have the sparkly cowboy hats. We did ask her if she wanted it, and she was like, "No, I don't want to like have that." And then while we were out, we saw countless girls with the cowboy hats for their bridal parties, for their birthdays, for I think just Halloween weekend still like. They were all dressed up, and she was like, maybe I should have worn something, but you know.
Orlando's downtown. I was telling Emily about this, Derek. Like our Orange Avenue is kind of like y'all's Broadway minus the theme restaurants. It's more like clubs and venues and stuff like that. Our theme restaurants are down in the tourist area, right? I Drive and Disney and all that. But ever since I was in high school, it's just like that's where you go. You know, when you're young, you go out. That's where you hang out, party. And so they block off all the streets, and it's just a huge pedestrian mob. I used to live in a condo tower downtown. I would just watch 2-3 in the morning, just everybody's out. Well, Halloween night, the police said this number, so I'm not exaggerating. They said there were 75,000 people on Orange Avenue. So imagine 75,000 people on a street. So it's wall-to-wall people, and a 17-year-old kid pulls out a gun to start shooting and murdered a bunch of people. Didn't even make national news. Isn't that crazy? Like it barely made local news.
Yeah.
Like there was a mass shooting in a Halloween night this past week. Just pop, mowed down kids, and he got arrested, charged him as an adult. The whole thing didn't even make national news. Crazy.
Man, that's crazy.
I know.
I was gonna say the craziest thing that happened on Broadway with my friends was at midnight. I told my friend that there's a Raising Cane's on Broadway open until 3 a.m. And she screamed because she loves Raising Cane's, and she immediately ran over there and got it. That's how crazy our night was, just to clarify.
Well, you're giving the safe versions of your...
Well,
you haven't lived unless you walk downtown Broadway on a Saturday night with some glittery cowgirl boots. That's how you know you've lived.
They've never, like a couple of them had never been, so it was like, I have to go. What was funny is before we went to dinner, and they were asking our waiter, like, what are some places we should go on Broadway? And then someone said, actually, what are the places we shouldn't go? And our waiter goes, to Broadway in general. Like, he just was like, don't go at all.
Facts.
I mean, honestly,
that's
it's like
a local native.
It's like Orlando people don't go to I Drive. We don't go to, like hang out with the tourists. You just like, that's for them. My friends were like,
do you go to Broadway often? And I said, I went for my birthday this year.
Yeah. All right. What else you got?
Okay, last thing. Do you guys know Taylor Tomlinson? She's a comedian. She hosts that show After Midnight. She's kind of been around.
I know her because Dustin Nickerson opens for her.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, she's a comedian. She's pretty young, but she's still making her name known. Well, she actually got her start out, as it turns out, in the Christian comedy circuit. And recently she shared a story about why she no longer is a part of the Christian comedy circuit. And it's because of a joke she told. And I want you guys to hear the story she told to Stephen Colbert.
In the Christian comedy circuit.
Yeah.
But there is a circuit of Christian.
There is a circuit.
There's a circuit, okay.
Yeah.
And you started like at 16 doing this. Okay. So what jokes were you doing then that are out of your repertoire?
Well, we called it testimony, but I was getting laughs. You guys are good. I like you.
Yeah.
It's funny because they were asking me this backstage, and I got fired from my last church gig because I tweeted a joke with innuendo in it. I know. Big reaction for innuendo.
What was the joke? Like, fired, you cannot be on the circuit anymore?
Well, I had I was opening for one huge church comedian at the time, and they had called me. I know it sounds silly, but it's real. Very talented comedian, and their team called me after I tweeted this joke, and we're like, hey, we just, we think you're great, but we can't have any sort of suggestive material out there coming from you. So the joke that eventually I ended up doing on television on late night, so it worked out, was I'm like a wild animal in bed, way more afraid of you than you are of me.
Fine joke. Quality
Thank you.
joke. Quality joke.
And it's a tweet.
Was this an ultimatum, like you drop that joke and you can stay, or you got to go?
No, they were like, it's on the internet, you're gone. Yeah. No, there was no change your ways, or it was like.
So there's no forgiveness in Christian comedy.
No.
There's no forgiveness in Christian comedy. Yeah, there you go.
I think it worked out for her, though. She still got some Netflix specials out of it. And she actually said in an interview later that she had been wanting to get out of the Christian comedy circuit. Like, she kind of felt like she was catering her jokes to the crowd that she didn't really believe in. So ultimately it worked out, but it is just very funny to think that one joke tweet is what ended up changing her entire career.
Emily, who was the famous Christian comedian that she opened for?
I did do some sleuthing on it because she never has said it.
I was like, is it Mark Lowry? I don't know any other Christian comedians.
So around 2016 is when she pivoted away from the church comedy tours. And in 2016, she was opening up for Tim Hawkins.
Tim Hawkins. Oh, I've never heard of him. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've
never heard of him. I have no idea who that is. Who's Tim Hawkins?
Yeah, I saw him multiple times. He might have been big in the Baptist circles, but he was like at my church camp at one point, like doing stand up. So he was. Hold on.
Your church camp, I just Googled him. I've never seen his face in my life. So your church camp would bring in Baptist comedians? Like my church camp would bring in like a band or a guest speaker.
We had bands too, but like there would be, they brought in, they would bring in comedians. They would bring in like Christian mentalists. They had some different people there.
Google results, when you search for Tim Hawkins, it says people also search for John Crist, Chonda Pierce, and Trey Kennedy. So yeah, there's your lineup of Christian comedians, folks.
There it is.
All right.
Only guy I know is John Crist. I'm gonna keep it real. I know John and
Trey got big on TikTok and stuff. He does like funny skits and stuff. He's funny.
Okay.
He came out the same time as John.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
You've probably seen his face. You just don't know his name.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah. All right. That'll do it for
Relevant Buzz.
Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between, but no politics now. Yay. All right. Stay tuned. Up next, Ben Fielding and Reuben Morgan join us. Can you quote Peter Griffin and St. Augustine? Are you a fan of Theo Von and the Nicene Creed? If so, Not the Sermon is the podcast for you. Join Jamie and Eric, a senior pastor and associate pastor, for a hilarious blend of comedy and theology. They roast church culture, parody modern worship, and discuss tough theological topics. This blend of the silly and the sacred is your new podcast obsession. Search for Not the Sermon anywhere you listen to podcasts. Today's show is brought to you in part by Ricky Smiley's new book, Sideshow. Have you experienced devastating loss? Ricky Smiley, comedian and radio show host, shares his journey through grief and healing after losing his son and father to addiction in his new book, Sideshow. Discover hope, encouragement, and tools to practice how to hold the good with the grief, the past gifts with the present heartache, the hope with the hurt. Learn more about this autobiographical book that can serve as a helpful resource at sideshowbook.com. Well, our guests today are Ben Fielding and Reuben Morgan. You know them from Hillsong United, but they're starting a new worship collective called Commons. With Commons, they want to develop and build up a new generation of worship leaders. So we talked to them about their vision, why they're so focused on the next generation, and why they're excited about the future of worship. Here's Emily's conversation with Ben Fielding and Reuben Morgan.
Who else can split the ocean wide? Who is the way, the truth, the life? Only our God, that's who He is. That's why we praise Him. One generation to the next. That's why we praise.
Well, you both are starting a new worship collective called Commons, but you said it's not a typical worship collective. What exactly makes it unique?
Yeah. So Commons, essentially, it's a collaborative space that Reuben and I have created where we're doing what we've always done, and that is write songs that are grounded in Scripture that everyone can sing. And we really wanted to, a lot of our friends are out doing incredible music, and we talked about should I put out a project? Should Reuben put out a project? But we're like, why don't we do something together and something where we can create space to bring people through and keep collaborating with all the people that we love and we've been collaborating with for years, and then also create space for new songwriters and new worship leaders. And we've been doing that for years too. I mean, can testify to that in my own life with Rubes. Like years ago, when he was an experienced songwriter, prolific songwriter, and I was very much starting out, Reuben made space for me to be able to write with him. And, that really, for me, gave me the opportunity then to start working with lots of other incredible people in his world. And I've seen the benefit of that in my own life, and have a heart to do that for others as well. So Commons, it's a creative space, it's a collaborative space, and we've called it Commons. Ruse, I don't know if you want to talk to that. Why Commons?
Well, the Commons in England is basically a shared space. You have a lot of houses around the place, and then there's a green that's called the Common, and it's basically where everybody comes together, and they have picnics. And, when the weather's good, everyone's having a good time and soaking up the sun if there is any. But it's basically a shared space, a place where we all where we get together. And really, the heart behind it, the Commons, is just for it to be a place where people experience God's presence and a real resource for worship leaders and worship pastors and churches. We want to help people worship.
I'm curious, what are the benefits of collaborating with other worship leaders?
Yeah, I mean, I think about the church, like capital C, around the world, and I think about the history of the church and all the moments in church history where there's been divisions on doctrine, and there's been divisions based on the things that we don't share in common. But then I think about the creeds, and I think about the songs of worship that we sing even today. And we're often singing the same songs. And so you realize that there's so much more that we're united on in the church than things that divide us. And I guess that's been our experience, getting to write with people from really different parts of the church. It's been a beautiful way, I think, of in our own world to bring unity in the church. And then you realize there's such richness in working with people that different to you, and that they think different, they come from different parts of the world. And that's also on our heart, is to not, we're based in Australia, but this is not just an Australian thing. We want to keep working with people right across the world, through Asia, through Europe, and obviously here in the States. And let the diversity and all that God's doing across his church come through what the Commons is doing.
How long have you guys been working on this Commons project together?
I mean, geez, like part of me thinks like 20 years, you know, like in the sense that like, that's probably about the time Reuben and I started writing together. And so that would be like the broad answer is I think we've been doing this for a long time. And always sort of had a heart to keep sort of broadening our world and keep working with as many people as we can and not kind of get to, I think it can be so easy, particularly as creatives, you find your lane and you kind of almost, the push is to get narrower and narrower in what you do. And so we've tried to fight to do the opposite and try to make space. And then I would say probably the last sort of 18 months to 2 years, like we've been writing really purposefully for this particular context and sort of been telling our friends going, we want to do this thing, like, would you like to write with us for this? And so it's kind of like, it's become a lot more intentional. And then obviously now like the foot sort of right to the floor and we're off, you know, and I honestly couldn't be more excited about putting out new music. It feels like it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Now, you mentioned that you specifically want to build up the next generation of worship artists, and I'd love to know, what is something unique about these new voices that you're working with?
What I feel like I'm seeing is a lot more artistic integrity and individuality. And I think people feel like they've got more permission to find their voice and to express it in their own way. And I think that's something that we should celebrate, because I look at, you know, the scriptures tell us that like the church is like a body and we've all got different parts. And I think it can be really easy to go, well, you know, worship songwriters are hands and we all kind of just look the same, we do the same thing. And so I love seeing that, this sort of almost bold confidence that's in the emerging generation of songwriters and worship leaders to really go about it in a unique way. And I think that enriches the broader church, and we are all better for it.
Kind of feels like there's more people doing it than ever. And I think that makes it a really exciting space, because it's inspiring. Everybody's bringing what they have to the table, what they're doing to the table. And that kind of thing I think it helps creativity. And so it feels like a new day. It feels like a new day in church worship music, and I'm a big fan of that. A new song for a new day, a new season in church.
God in human frame, His love compelled Him to the cross.
Well, you're releasing chapter 1 on Friday. I'm curious, how many chapters are you planning on rolling out?
About 560.
Get ready.
Yeah. All next year as well. No. We've sort of taken the view with the chapter, we're doing chapter 1, and we love that idea that we can kind of have like installments of new songs for the modern hymn book. And so we're going to roll with this for a while, and then at some point we might go, okay, chapters are closed, and we're going to do something else. But I think for now, like this, it's sort of indefinite. The idea really is, like, if you think about like the old hymn books, they kind of, the songs were added on a regular basis, and it wasn't necessarily a new project or a new album. They're just new songs because the church is always looking for a new song to sing, and the scriptures tell us to bring a new song to the Lord. And there are a lot of great old songs and songs that I would love to just keep singing, but I think there's something beautiful that happens when we do find new voice and we find new ways and new people to bring expression to this ancient truth that's captivated God's people for generations.
Yeah.
That was Ben Fielding and Reuben Morgan from Commons. Be sure to check out their debut album, Common, Chapter 1. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback. Today's podcast is also brought to you in part by the new book, Counting Miracles. One miracle might change 3 lives forever. From Nicholas Sparks, author of A Walk to Remember and The Notebook, Counting Miracles is an emotional novel about second chances. It follows Tanner, a former Army Ranger searching for his father, Caitlin, a doctor balancing work and family, and Jasper, an elderly man facing personal tragedy. As their paths cross, none expect a miracle, but it may change their futures forever. A story of redemption and belonging, Counting Miracles is available wherever books are sold. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by World Vision. We all subscribe to a lot of services that make our lives easier and more entertaining. But as followers of Jesus, we should want to seek first the kingdom of God in all areas of life, including our spending. That's why I'm so excited about a new kind of subscription through World Vision. Not one for myself, but for others. It's called Believers for World Change. And when you sign up, you're joining a community of change makers working to help end extreme poverty around the world and here at home. World Vision is a Christian humanitarian organization that works with children, families, and communities to reach their God-given potential, focusing on things like gender equality, spiritual nurture, and access to clean water, education, job training, and healthcare, so the entire picture of poverty can be addressed. Let's subscribe to something new together. Subscribe to World Change today at worldvision.org. Again, that's worldvision.org. Well, Relevant has a lot happening this year, and we don't want you to miss a thing. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter right there on the front page at relevantmagazine.com, and we'll send you our top 5 trending stories sent to your inbox every weekday. We'll also send you a weekly podcast newsletter with the latest episodes, some fan extras, and first peeks at the new shows that we're going to be rolling out throughout this year. Make sure to sign up. It's the best way to keep in touch with everything we got going on. All right, it's time for your feedback. Last week, we asked you, Marty was on, and we got talking about the weirdest thing you've ever bought from TikTok Shop. He was very proud of his hoodie, his purple hoodie that he had just bought. But then we found out he goes down the wormhole and he buys a lot of weird stuff. Not that a hoodie's weird, but he buys a lot of stuff from the TikTok Shop. So we asked you guys, what's the weirdest thing you've ever bought from the TikTok Shop? And you hit us up at Relevant Podcast, and here's some of our favorite replies.
Hey, yo. Sarah Branson says lightsaber chopsticks.
Oh, come on, Sarah.
Wait, I've seen those.
Sarah.
That is hilarious.
Can you imagine you like a girl, you go out a few times, and she finally invites you over for dinner. I want to cook dinner. And you're like, sweet. She's like, do you like Asian? I have a wok. I want to do Asian. Yeah, absolutely. And you're hanging out. You're still getting to know each other. And she pulls out the lightsaber chopsticks. Do you like her more or less after that?
Oh,
Sarah.
Man.
Oh,
Listen,
Sarah.
Sometimes it's the little things in life. Okay, I like Caitlin O'Neill's. She bought a dip clip for her car, and it's been a game changer. I've considered this. Have y'all seen this? It's like a thing you can put on the... It's like a little thing you can put on your car that holds like the sauce dip from like Chick-fil-A. So that way when you're driving, you can like dip your sauce and drive.
That sounds very dangerous, but I'm tracking.
No, I think it's supposed to help because if you're driving, instead of having to dip and eat the fry and drive at the same time, you can just.
There's some things you can eat when you're driving.
Yeah.
And just nuggets ain't it. Like, I don't think you should be eating nuggets at all. Why?
I think that's a great food car.
If you're doing a dip, though, it's a two-handed situation, Emily. What's holding onto the steering wheel?
No, that's what I'm saying. The dip is on this clip. It's like connected to...
But regardless, even if it's on the thing, you've got to look at it, take your eye off the road. You got to get your aim right to do the dip.
You can put it on the vent, so that way it's like still kind of in your periphery.
So now it's freezing your dip while
you're freezing your dip, and your air smells like Polynesian sauce.
Well, first off, you don't have to blast full cold air on it. You can turn it down a little bit and then
blast some hot air on it.
Listen, no, when you guys watch the videos, you're gonna think this is great.
The dip clip ain't it? Oh, y'all gotta stop.
So my kid's like, about to do his learner's permit and stuff, and so like I am not the safest driver. And I'm aware of it. Like we were talking about eating in the car, Chick-fil-A has a Cobb salad that I love. So 9 times out of 10, I get the Cobb salad. But I'm not going to wait till I get home to eat the salad. So I drive with my knee.
Cameron, you're not eating a Cobb salad.
Full on holding the salad in one hand, the fork in the other, and eating as I'm driving.
That is insanity.
100%.
No,
cut this out the podcast.
No, but I'm saying.
I don't want you to go to jail.
I'm telling a testimony right now in church. I used to be addicted to drugs, and the Lord set me free. I'm saying I used to do this. But now that I have 2 more eyes looking at me and learning by example how to drive. And you have a Tesla. Well, it drives itself, so it kind of doesn't help the situation. But I'm saying, like my kid watching me, I'm like more mindful now. I got to set a good example of safe driving. So I've stopped. I'm trying to say I've stopped. So the dip people, you need to think in terms of like
a salad
setting a good example.
A salad is crazy. That's crazy talk.
I've gotten good at it.
I can keep it in the bag, just like reach like one hand on the wheel, one hand digging around in the bag to find the nugget, eating it. That makes so much more sense.
Elon, get the self-driving up and running like ASAP fully across all cars. We need it.
Derek, it's full on working now.
Oh yeah, I got it on my car. It's crazy. But dude, we need to span it across all cars.
No, me and my Nissan Rogue are gonna be fine once I get a dip clip.
But people don't realize, like, if people have done the self-driving Tesla up until a couple months ago, you always had to have your hand on the wheel. It wasn't self-driving at all. It is full self-driving now. I'm telling you, I did a road trip to Atlanta last week. Went there and back in 2 days. Okay, so there was a lot of time on the road. Yep. I literally typed in the address sitting in my driveway and just told it to drive me there. And I never touched the wheel again. Yep. It pulled off to the chargers. I charged. It drove to the place. It parked itself. Yep. I didn't touch the wheel. There were no issues. I was sitting back, chilling, just relaxing the whole time. It was great.
I love that they make you keep your eyes on the road too. Yep. Like, so you don't touch the wheel, but your eyes have to be looking.
If you look down at your phone, it's going to turn. It's going to stop doing the self-driving. But so I was aware the whole time, but I was relaxed the whole time. I was literally leaned back. I had one hand on the, like on the armrest. I had the other hand like twiddling my hair. My legs were crossed. My feet were crossed on the floor. Yeah. Like, I was just like, it wasn't scary at all. It was great. It was super smooth.
Wait, this does remind me. Okay, so over the weekend, one of my friends, we took an Uber downtown to Broadway. But the Uber that picked us up was a Tesla, and I've been in a Tesla truly thanks to y'all, because I don't know anyone else with a Tesla. So I know how to open the door. My friends on the other side didn't know how to open the door, so they were having some trouble.
Like,
so then we
door
get in.
Door open.
Literally, I was like, guys, push it. Like, I was having help. So then we get in, and they say, like, sorry, I've never been in a Tesla before. This guy is in love with his Tesla, and he proceeds, it's only like a 7-minute drive, but he proceeds to say, like, if you guys have any questions about Tesla, let me know. I'll, like, pretty much acting like a salesman for Tesla. And so we asked him, what's your favorite feature about Tesla? I mean, you guys know there are thousands of like random features that are on Teslas that aren't on other cars. The first thing this man tells us is about the whoopee cushion that makes it sound like there's a fart happening in any seat. Yes. That was the first thing he told us.
I love that guy. That's my favorite guy. The guy that's like this $70,000 computer on wheels, but I like the fart machine.
Well, when they first released the fart sound effect, which is now internally you can make, and you can throw the acoustics so it sounds like it's coming from the back left seat.
And then he proceeded to do it to every single seat.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. But do you know, for a very brief period of time, you could change your horn sound, and you can make your horn sound like a fart too.
You can still do that.
No, you can't. The FAA or whatever got involved and made them disengage that feature because it was unsafe on the road, because too many Tesla owners were honk farting. And so they were.
But you could do other sound effects. So I see you could do like the.
But they all have to sound like horns. You can't do the fart horn anymore. It was like Elon tweeted he was mad about it. It was like last year that they disengaged it. But it was like the update added it, and the next update took it away. It was so sad. Anyway.
Sorry, you guys can't horn fart anymore.
Oh, Cohen loved doing the horn fart. He would like reach over and horn fart. Yeah, that sounds right
for a 13-year-old boy to want to do.
Here's my favorite thing to do with my fart contraption is to look at the app while it's parked, and when people walk by, to fart at them while they walk by. I'm that guy. So.
Oh yeah, because you can make what the sound is on the inside on the outside, right, or something like that.
Yeah, and I can control it from my app. So the kids are always like, "Hey, Dad, fart." I'm like, "All right, bet."
I mean, you can make your parked Tesla do a whole like musical performance with lights and flashing and outdoor music and stuff.
That was the second thing he told us was, like the conversations inside the car we can have outside. So he was like, so if y'all want to say something to Nashville, let us know or let me know. And we were like, we're good. We don't really want to do that. But
wait. I don't know about this feature. What are you talking about?
Where you can use the megaphone feature.
You to say stuff like outside the car while you're driving or while you're parked?
While you park.
Oh, while you're parked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, while you park.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do when you're parked that you can't do when you're driving. But anyway. All right, are there any others?
Oh, Brittany bought matching PJs for her and her dog, and she says they're very cute. She promises. So,
what do we think about that? Like,
that's a lot. It's a lot for me.
I'm personally a hater. I'm sorry. If you match with your dog,
it's a lot.
Happy for you, but please don't come near me.
There's like a certain version of it that's like, oh, that's cute. And there's a certain version of it like, oh, that's sad. Like, like there's a line there. And I don't know exactly where the line is, but there is a line between.
There is a line. There is a line. No, I like Theo Mask. He said he bought a drone for $20 and it crashed immediately into his wall.
Oh, yeah. Those you can't buy cheap little. Yeah.
I got a cheap drone. I haven't even opened it up and I'm terrified.
Did you buy it on TikTok Shop?
No, somebody gave it to me, so I know that it's not lit like that. It's still in the box. I haven't used it yet.
Yeah.
Yo, it's Rhea. Yeah, okay, that's dope. Yo, it's Rhea. Says they bought a portable bonfire, and it's not great at keeping me warm, but it does help set the vibe. So
portable bonfire. I like those smokeless can ones are cool. Have you seen those? Like,
yeah, I wonder if that's what she's talking about. Yeah, like the ones you can bring.
But the TikTok Shop / Temu version of one. Well, they have little tiny ones, but they have pretty big ones too. But yeah. All right, cool. Well, there's a lot more where that came from. If you want to go get inspired for your own shopping, holiday shopping, maybe, check out our replies. Okay, it's time for this week's
editorial question of the week.
All right, well, we spent a little bit too much time talking about Derek and my cars experience. But I'm telling you, it drove me to Atlanta and back. I didn't do anything. It was great. Talk about eating a salad. I'm just sitting back, chilling. As a passenger eating a salad.
If I look over at a stoplight and see a grown man eating a salad on the road, I don't know what I would do, but probably scream.
The only thing worse than eating a salad is eating ribs. It's like about the only thing worse than eating.
I'm not dripping sauce all over my car.
He's got a bib on.
Or crab legs.
Yeah, I mean, it's lobsters.
Cracking crab legs.
I got melted butter in my vent.
The butter's in the vent, the dip clip. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. We want to know features that if you could add any feature to a car, what would you add? Not just Teslas, obviously, just any car. What features would you add to make your driving experience more fun, memorable, relaxing, innovative, whatever, serious or not serious? Hit us up on Twitter, X @Relevant Podcast, and we'll read our favorites on next week's show. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to thank again Ben Fielding and Reuben Morgan for joining us. Make sure to check out their debut album, Common, Chapter 1. Also, make sure to hit up relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are covering the intersection of faith, life, culture, and everything in between. Sign up for our daily newsletter to get our best content sent straight to your inbox, and make sure to follow us on all the socials. If you haven't checked out Relevant Plus, it's the best way to experience our content. You get this podcast ad-free. You get our beautifully designed digital magazine, and you get ad-free unlimited reading at the website. Plans start as low as $2.50 a month, and it is the best way to experience our content and support our work. We appreciate you, Relevant Plus subscribers. And by the way, a lot more in the pipeline. We're working on some fun stuff for Relevant Plus. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Emily Brown.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Harry Styles.
Relevant Podcast Network.